All right, so we're moving on to the part 4, and I got some more segments of videos here, whatever 6, 7, or 8 back here with it as well. This part's called installing the live server and coding the HTML with it. So again, here's what we're going to do. Let me minimize this, and I'll minimize the snipping tool that we just did with it. This is what you have right now. You have 2 files right now. Let me save this one, Command S or Control S, I'm sorry. That saves it, and everything should be saved right now with it. If you could for me, first thing we need to install is the live server. If you come down and look at this last icon right here where I'm hovering over, it says extension with it, click on it. And inside of this, I like for you in the search extension, if you can please just type the word live for me. All right, it populates what's called the Redwick live server, Redwick Day, and if you can please click on install. So you have to do this every time because whoever installed this didn't install it by default. So we have to do this every time when you test out a page, and it will open up your web browser for you. All right. So you have this thing installed. We're going to view it in a browser in a second with it. That's fine with it. Come back to your index page for me. This is your index. And if you want to close out this, just click on this again. It will take all that extension with this. Well, take it out with it. The part that I want to focus in now is the body tag, between the body elements in here as well. This is what we're going to go in, and this is the area that I would like for you to understand is we're going to come in here. There are a couple of other things that we need to actually still have to code with the CSS with it, and continuing on with this as well with it. So come down here. I want to talk to you about, I want to place my cursor after inside the body tag, which is the first line is number 9. I'm going to tab in. Now, commenting is a very, very important concept here. So to comment, meaning you could hide documentations of the code by doing this: left angle bracket, explanation, dash, dash. You see how I did that? And everything that you type in between these two symbols is it's blindfold, meaning the browser does not know. It ignores everything in between here. Does that make sense? But the syntax is explanation, left angle bracket, explanation, dash, dash. This will actually hide out stuff with it. All right. Great for documentation later on if you're having me for programming. Great for debugging. Put that bug in your so document this thing. I'm going to say this is not going to appear in the web browser, but this is the main content of page. Starts here. All right. So I really want you guys to get used to documentations and things with it. So I'm going to tighten up that code with it. You don't see this in the browser with it. So I'm going to do the first row, and then we're going to copy it. We're going to flip it back and forth with it. The reason is this is going to be your portfolio. Your portfolio is going to look like this, and I gave you some image you could actually link to as well. All right. So let's go. So I'm in the body tag right now. The first one, to use all these attributes that from styles.css here, we have to put in what's called the div tag. So I'm going to start with the div tag. All right, make sure with the element with it. So the class, remember we did the dot syntax class. All right, equal, and the first class I'm going to use here is the row, and you did that up in the other file. So it's the dot syntax in the row with it. Now watch the right angle bracket. The moment I do this, it writes the closing of that tag. Hit enter. That just moves it on, aligns it parallels to it as well. That's you're gonna nest a couple of these things in here. So keep this order, okay? So the second one you need to put in is the left angle bracket, the div tag with this. And this div tag we're gonna use the class equal. I just hit tab and it writes my equal sign, the quotation in there with it. I'm going to use the column dash 66. All right, that's the first one. Watch, right angle bracket, shift, right angle, it writes the closing of that tag, hit enter. See how these things are nested? This set is nested inside of this set right here. All right, it's important that you understand this because nesting and how tags are subtags to it is what we call as a document object model. So the parent tag here is the HTML, which is the root basically. You have two subtags, is the head, and then you have the body. And inside the body, you're going to have different types of subtags that goes inside of it as well. All right, so we're inside of the what? This is the nested div tag of column 66. And then we're going to use the first one is I'm going to write the first attribute as h1 with it. And remember that class we did was h1, we did class, and we did an x large. Remember that? X large dash fonts, and we gave it a huge font with it as well. So what is this? So this is the element. This part's called the what? This is the attribute. Oops. This is the attribute. Control Z, get the key to know, undo. And everything in between the quote is the properties. So I'm going to do another one over here with it as well. Let me close that one and that one out with it. Watch, I'm going to close that one out. And then inside of that, I'm going to use another element. It's called B for bold with it. That closes. So this is nested inside of the H1 tag. Okay. I want to say this section is my. You can say I don't know. What's your Photoshop? My digital imaging. My digital image. Okay. That's the one that you did for class exercise number 1. Your exercise that you did with the logo that I asked you to do. All right, you can call it anything you want. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't have to be called this with it. So that's the first one. The second one, I still want to use what's called the H1 tag with it, and I'm just going to type this once, and we're going to just bear with me with this as well with it. This second one is going to be a class. Instead of using the X large, we're going to just do the large fonts. Okay, large font. Move over, put style, and equal color. And you're going to use that color as, let's do medium. Sea green. One word like this. All right, semicolon and close off that. Now, look at this. It has a squiggly line after this. And it says it doesn't like the way how this looks like. It doesn't know what style is with it because look, my syntax error because I have 2 of the quotes there with it. That's what happened. I need to take one of them out. And now, so make sure you don't have any of that green squiggly line or red squiggly line underneath it. All right, with it. My next set of tag I want to put inside of this thing is the paragraph tag with it. P. Inside of the paragraph tag, I'm going to do a span style, all right, and the span style this time is this font. I'm going to use font. Remember the font size. Hit tab. This font size I'm going to use size is 36 pixel. Come to the right of that. Close that quote. Close that tag. All right, so that closes the tag. So anything I type between here, it's going to have what? It's going to be in a paragraph. It's going to be text that I would actually use, all that stuff. So we need some placeholder text, all right? Placeholder text. Text that doesn't mean anything. They're gibberish. They're just like letters and words that we need to copy in as to hold the space in there, all right? So later on, you're going to do this as well, all right? So open up your browser. Let me minimize this. Here's your browser. I'm going to use Firefox. Just connect to your Google search engine and just type in Lipsum, okay, generator or text. Lipsum text generator. Lipsum is one word. Text is the second word. Generator. Hit enter. Okay, so yeah, whatever, IMSM, whatever, same thing. All right. So lorem ipsum is what I'm talking about. It's a text generator with it. So did you see what I misspelled it? So if you do ipsum, IPSUM, ipsum text generator, we get you the lorem ipsum generator as well with it. Click on that, and this is what I'm talking about right here. So I just need some text, man. So you can come in here, you can do 5 paragraphs, copy, whatever you need to do. They're just gibberish words with it. If you want to hit copy, use this one. If you want more paragraphs, you know, you can do it until your heart's content. So I'm going to copy this text in here by using this right here. I'm going to jump back to my visual code. I want to place it between here. Okay, so let me just take that white space out, Control V to paste it. Now it's supposed to word wrap for me. Hang on. Word wrap. No. Let me do this. Control Z. Control Z. See, it's just too long, that's why. Let me just hit enter. Okay, so there it's just text that I'm using with it as well. So no, I don't want to use this. Sorry, this is what I typed in your instructions with it. All right, let me try that again. So let me see this right here. Easy ways. I'm just going to grab this like this, highlight it like this, copy. I want to copy that. All right, jump back to minimize this browser. Minimize the browser. Open up your code again. Paste it between your spam. Okay. Now again, I just need to. It's supposed to word wrap, but it's not always perfect. So just do this. Just place your cursor after it and just hit enter. They're just placeholder text at this time. You can always go back and fill in later with it as you please with it as well. Okay. So this is the closing. Make sure it looks like this right now for me. All right. Let me zoom in. So make sure it's indented in. This is your first row basically that you have right now. All right. 2 of the columns. Remember now, this is column 66 means what? Your first long, remember that I told you the 3, the whole row is 99, which is 100%. And then you took the first 2, add together, first 2, each one's 33, 33. And then you still have another row to come into it as well. So this row, look, this is 2/3 of the column. You see that? 66 out of 100. That's 2/3 of a column. Come down here, place your cursor at the same levels of the indentation. Start out with another one. Div, class. You're going to actually come in this time and use what? You're going to do the column dash 33. Close that off. Okay? And close that off. Hit enter. So this part is the first 2/3. This is the last 1/3 of that row. Inside of this time, we need to insert in an image. I gave you some images, remember that? So we use the element as the tag IMG, short for images with it. SRC, you need to know this for exam. SRC is the attribute, and you're going to actually link it to one of the images that I'm going to give you, right? So come back over here, open up your Explorer over here, and if you notice all the images, I gave you 3 images here, right? And you're going to link to one of them. Let's take the first one, for example, IMG-0125.jpg. Well, again, relationship. How do you go from index to IMG_0125.jpg? I have to go through what folder? What folder? I have to go through the IMG folder, and then I would find my image, right? So I have to write that path, IMG /, and the moment I hit /, it tells me I'm inside that folder. I can access anything like that. All right. So that's how you actually close it with it. And hang on, we're not done yet. We need to give it a height and a width this time, right? So we don't want it to be too large on this thing. Hit width. This width for this image that I looked up is 335. come to the right of that, you can do a height equal, and this height is 471. Just use my numbers with it. All right, I mean it's very arbitrary. Just bear with me for a moment. So let's save this thing. Command S saves it. Save it. Save it. All right, make sure all the files are saved. I want to see this image. Click on your index right here. Click on your index.html. Right mouse click on it. Right mouse click, come down and it says open with live server. You see that? You install that plugin in the extension over there with it. Click on that and it's going to open up a browser for you. It looks like this. This is the image that we just did. Okay? Now, as you can see, this text right here is a placeholder with it. So I just did this my digital image. This is the image that you just did. And all this text. So this is from here to here. This column is 66 and this is the 33 right here. All right. So again, this is your first web page for a lot of you. So bear with me. This is just, you know, the font large. And this is the actual large font that I'm using in here as well. Again, a beginning portfolio with as well, right? So come down here inside of this thing. Now we got to do a second row. This is what's called a zigzag pattern. The second row is going to just switch it. That's all you're doing. So you're going to, if you notice this image, you're going to take this next image and you're going to place it on to the left here, which is the first one's what? You start the second row, this is the first 33, and the rest of it's going to be 66, right? The two columns. So the distance from here to here is 66, that's what I'm saying. This distance here to here is 33. You got it? So you're doing the second row, and then and the third row, you're going to flip it back to like the first row. So the pattern is going to go from this image, zigzag down to the upper right hand to the bottom left, and then it's going to go back to the right. So it's called a zigzag pattern with it. That's a type of design, okay? So here we go. Let me just minimize this with it. So we're going to take the same, basically the same stuff that you have over here with it, and we're going to just, you know, I want to take this content right here. Let me just document this right here. I want to take this line right here that I just did with it, and I just comment that out with it. I'm going to do the same thing. Instead of saying this is the main content, I want to say this is the second row. Starts here. Okay, I'm getting almost 18 minutes out of this thing. Let me stop this part 6, okay? I don't want to go too far with this.